The Carlsbad Field Office is celebrating pollinators this Earth Day.
Join us as we travel around the Black River Recreation Area of Eddy County and learn about pollinators of the Chihuahuan Desert. This is Ellen, the cave specialist at the Bureau of Land Management.
And this is Amanda, the hydrologist.
Eddy County has many caves. Some are big and famous, but there are many small caves around too. They can be fun to explore for humans, but these caves offer shelter to many animals, including bats. These are called cave myotis bats. They like sleeping in caves during the day. The cave is nice and dark, so the bats can sleep while the sun is out. The cave also gives them protection from predators. But once evening comes, the bats wake up and feel hungry. Bats are nocturnal, which means they are active at night. Many bats in Eddy County wake up right around sunset. Cave myotis bats like to eat insects, and many insects are active around sunset and sunrise. It's time to go hunting.
A popular spot for insects and bats is the Black River. Insects love the water. Bats know if they go to water, they'll probably find some food to eat. The Black River is a special kind of waterway. Some of it is underground and we can't see it, but in certain places it flows on the surface, providing water for plants and animals. It's all part of the local water cycle. The water cycle describes how water moves on, in, and above the earth. Earth's water is always moving and changing states from liquid to vapor to ice and then back again. The water cycle has been working for billions of years and all of life on Earth depends on it. The Earth would be a pretty stale place without it.
Our bat is most familiar with insects that fly at night, such as moths. Moths can be great pollinators of night-blooming plants. The cave myotis probably doesn't meet a lot of pollinators, though, because most are active during the day. A pollinator is anything that helps transfer pollen between flowers. Plants need pollination in order to reproduce. There are many species that can act as pollinators. Some examples of local pollinators include insects such as butterflies, bees, flies, and ladybugs. These are attracted to bright flowers because many of them, such as butterflies, consume nectar from the flowers for food. When these insects visit the flowers, they are also spreading pollen from flower to flower. Even some bats are pollinators. Although most bats in New Mexico eat insects, there are several species native to New Mexico that consume the nectar of plants like yuccas. These plants rely on bats for pollination.
As our bat friend flies over the river looking for food to eat, it dodges around trees and flies over desert shrubs. The area around the Black River is called a riparian zone, with cottonwood trees dominating the landscape. Riparian zones are made up of a variety of different plants and trees, and they all play an important role in our rivers and lakes. They help to stabilize the banks of rivers from stormwater runoff and floods. These areas also serve as nature's water treatment facilities for our rivers. These riparian zones also provide shelter and homes for many species of birds, mammals, amphibians, and reptiles. As our bat flies farther afield, it may notice some insects flying over nearby crops and rangelands. These plants also depend on local pollinators for survival. Many areas called rangelands, which are lands managed for native plants and animals, are also used for grazing livestock. Ranchers ensure rangelands are not overgrazed, so enough habitat and food remain for wildlife, including pollinators. To avoid overgrazing, ranchers ensure that no more than half of the forage available is consumed by their livestock. Once half the forage is consumed, they move their livestock to a different pasture and allow the grazed pasture to rest so that plants have time to grow.
The Chihuahuan Desert is a wild place, home to many different plants and animals. Some of them are very rare and need extra help for survival. Biologists work hard to ensure that their habitat is protected. Many special actions are taken to ensure that the numbers of these plants and animals go up instead of down. Here are some of the endangered species our bat friend might be flying over. Gypsum wild buckwheat is a plant that only occurs in southeast New Mexico. It grows in a special type of soil called gypsum soil. During the spring and summer, it has yellow flowers and dark green leaves.
Kunzler hedgehog cactus can be found in higher elevations. This plant has brightly colored blooms during warm times of the year. These blooms attract many pollinators, such as insects like bees and butterflies. Another local endangered species is a freshwater mussel known as the Texas hornshell mussel. The mussels are generally found under rocks or shelves within rivers. They are called bivalve mollusks because they have two shells that are connected by a hinge. These shells protect the soft body of the mussel. They eat algae, bacteria, and other plants they are able to filter from the water through their gills.
Although our friend the cave myotis bat is not an endangered species, he still must watch out for threats to his own survival. Predators like owls and snakes will be happy to eat a bat for a snack. It's all part of the food chain. Luckily, our bat escapes his predator and decides it's time to head back to the safety of his cave. The sun is rising as the bat flies over Sunset Reef Campground, where the campers are just waking up. Some of them might head to Cottonwood Day Use Area for a day of fishing or bird watching. Maybe someone brought their canoe and will enjoy floating on the peaceful Black River. Others might be going out into the desert on a hunting trip.
There's a lot to do and enjoy around the Black River. Humans share these public lands with each other, but also with the animals who call it home. Depending on what time you visit the Black River, you may even see some of these pollinators in action. When you see a blooming yucca, imagine that a bat had visited it last night. Listen for buzzing bees. Maybe you will spot one covered in pollen. And watch for other pollinators in the area like butterflies. They're all doing their part to keep the desert healthy and strong for all of us to enjoy. Thank you for traveling with us and our cave myotis bat as we traveled over the Black River Recreation Area. We've seen some pollinators and the plants that benefit from pollination. As you explore the Chihuahuan Desert, we hope you get to see some of these plants and animals too.